Over the last 2 years, I started my side hustle, sold 500K on Etsy, quit my 9-to-5 job, started traveling the world, and then weirdly became a content creator. And this is my story of how I did it and how you can too. So just 5 years ago, I had just graduated university and I started a job for $38,000 a year and a whopping 2 weeks vacation. I was barely able to save anything, even living at home with my parents, because after taxes, I was taking home about 27K a year. And my whole life dream has been to travel the world. And with 2 weeks vacation, that barely gave me any time to even get to any part of the world and enjoy it because I'd have to just fly right back. So I decided that the way I was going to make more money and to get more vacation was by job hopping. By doing this, I was able to climb the corporate ladder faster and get raises way more significant than 5% if I stayed at one company year to year. So I quickly did get up to around 70K Canadian. That's probably around like 55 USD in a senior role within my field. The problem I realized that by the time I was making better money and had 1 week more of vacation, the stresses that came with that job raise and the responsibility that came with it was way too overwhelming. I was now beginning to lose sleep. I was stressed out at work. And on those 3 weeks that I did have vacation, I was still thinking about work and dreading work. So I wasn't even enjoying my time off. This last role that I switched into was near the beginning of the pandemic. So after work, I did have some free time. And of course, on weekends, I had nowhere to go, nowhere to travel to, and I had a lot of free time like many of us did. So I decided to use my free time to try to start building up an income that would afford me to leave and gain some of my sanity back that I had lost by climbing this corporate ladder. I tried 3 different dropshipping stores. I tried to build a jewelry brand and I tried to sell some services on Fiverr, and none of them really worked out. In fact, a lot of them lost me money. So I started to just focus on my hobbies, kind of giving up on the side hustle route, not really believing that I could make it. So instead I went to drawing and just decided I would just find a hobby that was stress relieving for me to get over the hard times at work. So I started to draw, and from there I got an iPad where I was able to start drawing digitally, so it was easier to create and save all of my drawings. If you don't know me, I absolutely love cats. So one thing I started doing was starting drawing all of my cats. I had 2 cats at home with my parents. I had 2 cats that I was currently babysitting, and I was hoping for some future cats. So I actually started drawing cats in cartoon style on my iPad and sending them to my friends. Then I decided to try uploading it to Etsy, and weirdly, they started selling, and I was able to start making pet portrait sales on Etsy without having to do any marketing. And this is when I truly realized the power of Etsy. The issue is that after a while, I was having to spend hours on every single order after I got a sale. And on top of working my 9-to-5, I was working to midnight now. What started as a way to stress relieve quickly became the opposite. And now I had a full 13-hour workday from working my 9-to-5 to finishing off these drawings that really didn't make me that much money. So my first idea was to try to make more money on the digital downloads by offering people a service where I could print their drawing for them, because many people had messaged me asking, okay, I got my order. What do I do now? How do I get it printed? And my answer would be like, I don't know, Google it. So I figured if there was a way that I could find out how to print it and then I could add a markup, I could be making more money on each sale. So I'd have to do less digital drawings to make it worth it. And this is how I found out about print on demand. I found Printify that was able to print my prints on a canvas sheet or on a mug or on a t-shirt. And then I would offer it to my purchases of my digital drawings and let them get it on one of these products. And then I would make an extra $10 on top of that order. While this was great and it did make me more money, what it didn't solve was how much time I was having to spend every single time I got an order. And near Christmas, there was a day when I had 20 orders on my digital downloads, and I would have to spend 2 hours on each of those. And working on top of my 9-to-5, I had no clue how I was gonna get this done. My neck was starting to cramp up from looking down at my iPad for hours and hours on day, on top of staring at my my laptop from 9 to 5 from my work. And I quickly realized just how unsustainable this business was for me. But then I had the idea. If I was able to print my digital downloads, my custom orders on t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, anything that I could find on Printify, then why couldn't I pre-make some designs and start selling those and not offer a full customized digital drawing of someone's pet? Instead, I could create designs first, and then I would not have to recreate them every single time that I got a sale. So I did just that. I started a brand new Etsy store and hooked it up with Printify because while playing with Printify, I realized that they automated with Etsy so that when I did get a sale, if I didn't have customization, it would send right to print. How it would work is I would create a design, say a teacher shirt, and then I would go to Printify, I would pick what product I wanted to put that on, I would send it to Etsy, and then once I got a sale on Etsy, it would automatically get sent to Printify, who would then print and ship my product for me. So I never had to do anything once I got a sale, unlike the digital downloads that were, again, costing me hours and costing me my sanity. And no, it was not an instant success. It took a long time for me to build up my catalog of different designs. I had to learn SEO. I had to learn how to make good mock-ups. I had to learn how to make designs that many different people would appreciate. And I had to learn how to do tons of Etsy and niche research. Eventually, I went from making a few sales a month to 30 sales a month, and I stuck around 30 sales a month for quite a little bit until around September of the first year that I started. This was back in 2021. And around September of this time, work had just become very undesirable. I was still working my 9 to 5, and I was just not myself anymore. And at that moment, I made the decision that if I could figure out how to make 30 sales with my print-on-demand store, what is stopping me from really scaling that upwards? At the time, I was working passively on it. I was not doing this full-time. And so I dedicated September to getting up as many designs as possible and doing everything I could about learning about print-on-demand, Etsy, marketing, optimization to make sure my success was inevitable. I had truly decided I am going to make this work no matter the cause, because I was at just a breaking point in my life and I needed this to work. That combined with it being the beginning of Q4, which is the highest selling season on Etsy, and I was listing tens and tens of designs on Etsy per day because I was spending every waking hour that I could getting listings up on Etsy. I quickly grew to 1,000 profit the next month, and then 8,000 profit the next month. And then in December of 2021, I had my first 12K profit month. This is where I saw what was possible from going from 300 a month profit to 12,000 a month profit. And going into the next year, 2022, I wanted to make sure that January and February, I was still making sales outside of Q4. And my goal was to make at least 10 sales a day. And moving forward, I had about an average of 15 sales a day in 2022. This was now making more than my 9 to 5. And I made the decision that I could finally quit my job, because if I could make this much money working part-time alongside my 9 to 5, how much could I make when I had 8 extra hours a day? And so I handed in my 2 weeks notice and I have not looked back. Around this time, I was extremely camera shy. I'm still getting over it, but I am a whole lot better now. And I had a deal with a friend that we both had to post one TikTok to get used to talking to cameras. And I decided to make my TikTok about how my print-on-demand store had grown, and I shared my results from that 12K profit month. And my video blew up and became viral with suddenly, I think I woke up with 20 or 30,000 new followers and people asking me to share how I did this. And from there, I decided, I guess I'm a content creator now. I had this many people interested in what I was doing and I wanted to share what I was learning with people. Since then, my life has now revolved around half working on my Etsy store and half teaching others how I did the same. I absolutely love my Etsy store and it helps me create content. And I love helping people learn how to do this myself, because there's nothing more rewarding than knowing that you have changed someone's life. I started living out my dream and started traveling. I packed up all my belongings and left for 6 months traveling Asia, which I've never been able to do before because it was way too far. And I was actually able to stay there and work from there, because with print on demand, you don't have to be in one location. You aren't printing or shipping anything yourself, and you can be working on any time zone because you're not doing any live calls with people. So it really is super location and time independent. My store since then has maintained more than I ever made in the 9 to 5, only working a few few hours a day. I don't put in as much effort as I did back in that September where I was extremely desperate, but that is the great part about print on demand. When you do all the work up front, it can pay off for months and years later. So every amount of work that you do compounds over time. And now I've been working on this YouTube channel to help more people start with print on demand and help share the tips that I've learned and keep people up to date with all of the changes. On this YouTube channel, I want to be talking about side hustles, print on demand, mindset, business, and everything that I learn along the way. So if these are topics that interest you, please like and subscribe, ask questions in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you. I also use the comments to decide which next videos I am going to work on so that I can help as many people as possible. Thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to talk to you more and see you next week.